No, no.
Good afternoon. A senior health official has warned that the next few days are crucial in the battle against the Omicron variant of coronavirus. Chris Hobson, the chief executive of NHS Providers, which represents health trusts, says the government must be ready to introduce new restrictions if they're needed. Latest figures show hospital admissions in England have risen to their highest level since January last year. The Health Secretary, Sajid Javid, has warned new restrictions on freedom must be an absolute resort. Here's our health correspondent, Sophie Hutchinson.
A new year, and with it, the hope that 2022 will draw us closer to the end of the pandemic. But once again, January is likely to see soaring infection rates. Last night, restrictions in some places and advice in others meant more subdued celebrations, but some were determined to celebrate.
We've got our vaxes, we've got our boosters, we've done our things, we've followed the guidance.
New Year's has been a funny one this year because obviously we want to stay safe, but also in 15 years of living here I've never been and done the London fireworks, so Boris had a cheese and wine party, so why can't I come and see the fireworks?
Oh, hello, hi, how are you? Come in, take a seat, yeah?
Some had resolved to get protected for the new year and went for boosters today.
This is third shot booster. Just want to make sure that we've got all the protection we can get. Stay out there, meeting friends, family, being out there living a normal life.
The main priority right now is to keep everyone safe, keep spreading the awareness that please, please, please get vaccinated. It's so important, whether it be the first dose, second dose or booster, and to look out for each other and protect one another.
The Health Secretary in England is hoping vaccines will prevent the need for more restrictions and said additional measures would be a last resort.
The debate about whether it's safe to mix or if we need more restrictions will continue, but the question is just how effective might those be? Government-commissioned modelling from Warwick University suggests the window to suppress the peak may already have passed, and that the last opportunity to introduce effective restrictions was a week ago on Boxing Day.
The number of patients in hospital with COVID-19 has increased by about 70% in a week, according to NHS providers. They say it's too early to know how this wave will play out.
If the evidence shows that we are getting very significant numbers of people coming into hospital with COVID, then the government needs to be ready to introduce further restrictions at pace. What we're trying to balance this against is the fact that the vaccines have changed the rules of the game.
With most days now bringing record numbers of infections as the virus spreads rapidly amongst us, the Health Secretary in England has warned of a big increase in hospitalisations this month, which is likely to test the limits of the NHS. Sophie Hutchinson, BBC News.
Well, due to the holiday period, the government's latest coronavirus figures aren't complete, but there were a record 162,572 new infections recorded in the latest 24-hour period in England alone, and 154 deaths. That's of people who died within 28 days of a positive test. The funeral service for Archbishop Desmond Tutu has taken place in Cape Town. He was a key figure in South Africa's anti-apartheid movement and winner of the Nobel Peace Prize. He'd insisted there should be no lavish spending on his funeral. Today, South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa described him as a crusader for justice. Here's Nomsa Maseko.
Family, friends and politicians bidding farewell to a man who became one of the most important voices of the 20th century. This was a final send-off for Archbishop Desmond Tutu, following a week of events to honour him. Speakers shared memories of the Anglican priest who did all he could to expose and to heal the wounds of South Africa's brutal past.
Many of the messages we received have said, "Thank you for sharing him with the world." Well, it actually is a two-way street. Because we shared him with the world, you shared part of the love you held for him with us.
South Africa's president delivered the main eulogy.
Archbishop Desmond Tutu has been our moral compass, but he's also been our national conscience.
It was during South Africa's long and violent struggle against the country's brutal regime that he rose to prominence.
We will be free!
After the country became a democracy, he presided over the tumultuous reconciliation process. In accordance with his wishes, the Archbishop will be acclimated. This is a greener alternative to cremation. His ashes will be interred beneath the floor here at St. George's Cathedral. It's the end of an era. The last of South Africa's well-known freedom fighters leaves behind a difficult task for the leaders to rid the country of corruption and racial divisions, and to also forge the way forward in the spirit of the moral compass that many believe was the driving force to Tutu's leadership. Nomsa Masego, BBC News, Cape Town.
It's been the warmest New Year's Day on record for the UK, with continued unseasonably high temperatures. St James's Park in central London hit 16.2 degrees Celsius, beating the previous record of 15.9 degrees set more than 100 years ago. Now, leading figures in the battle against COVID-19 are in the New Year's honours list. The UK government's chief medical advisor, Professor Chris Whitty, and his deputy, Jonathan Van Tam, have been knighted, along with the chief medical officers for Scotland and Wales. In all, more than 1,200 people have been recognised, including sports stars and actors, and others who've made extraordinary contributions in their fields and communities. Here's Lisa Mazimba.
Their faces have become familiar to the public throughout the pandemic. Now the Chief Medical Officers for England, Chris Whitty.
If lots of people are vaccinated, that reduces the risk of transmission in the community.
For Scotland, Gregor Smith, and for Wales, Frank Atherton, have all been knighted. A knighthood too for England's Deputy Chief Medical Officer, Jonathan Van Tam. In the entertainment world, Joanna Lumley says she's stunned to be made a dame.
Patsy Stone, 47.
Both for her acting career and for her campaigning work.
When I saw that sentence saying DBE, I burst into tears. It was the most extraordinary shock. It was such a shock. I put my head in my hands and sobbed like a baby. Then I thought, how has this happened? Is it a mistake? I truly was completely thrown by it. I'm thrilled to bits.
James Bond actor Daniel Craig has been made a CMG, the same honour held by the fictional spy.
As the world watched on, another black life gone.
And Ashley Banjo from dance troupe Diversity says he's humbled and proud to become an MBE.
Black lives matter.
As Jason Kenny takes the title!
Several Olympians have been honoured, including Jason Kenny and Laura Kenny. They're thought to be the first couple ever to receive a knighthood and a damehood at the same time.
We're very lucky we get to share our careers together anyway, and so yeah, to get to share honours, I suppose, is very, very special.
Honestly, when I opened it, because we weren't together, were we? I was just like, because you just never in like your childhood dreams think you're going to be a dame or a sir.
Tom Daley becomes an OBE for his diving and his work on LGBTQ+ rights.
Double Olympic champion!
Swimmer Adam Peaty has also been made an OBE. Successful Paralympians recognised include Jodie Cundy, who becomes a CBE, and Kadina Cox, who's been made an OBE. And US Open tennis champion Emma Raducanu says she's proud and grateful to be made an MBE. Separately from the main New Year honours, Buckingham Palace has announced that Tony Blair will receive a knighthood from the Order of the Garter, an appointment within the gift of the Queen.
What day is it today?
Most of those being honoured aren't in the public eye, though. People like young fundraiser Tobias Weller, who's raised over £150,000 through a series of walking and cycling challenges.
I never thought in my wildest dreams that I'd get an honour from the Queen. I am so excited. I'm actually going to get to meet her.
11-year-old Tobias, who receives a British Empire Medal, is thought to be the youngest ever recipient of an honour. Lizo Mazimba, BBC News.
Manchester City have extended their lead at the top of the Premier League, beating Arsenal 2-1 with the winning goal coming deep into injury time. It's their 11th win on the trot, as Patrick Geary explains.
Early kick-off, New Year's Day. Tired Arsenal and Manchester City fans must hope their luck improves in 2022. Referees, of course, can't afford to be bleary-eyed, for soon Stuart Atwell had a decision to make. No Arsenal penalty, he said, and on reflection, VAR confirmed, not without question. Arsenal didn't dwell on that, though. No time to, no need to. Bukayo Saka extended the New Year's celebrations. Only the manager missed out. He's in COVID isolation. But in the second half came the hitch. A handful of Bernardo Silva's shirt, enough for a Manchester City penalty. And, thanks to Riyad Mahrez, an equaliser too. Now the game hurtled into a chaotic fast-forward. A mistake. Somehow City's Nathan Ake saved a goal. Somehow Arsenal's Gabriel Martinelli missed one. And just seconds later, the Gunners' other Gabriel, already booked, got himself sent off. Arsenal's party was now a lockout. Could they stop City? Stoppage time, the league leaders advanced, and Rodri won it. For those who came from Manchester, worth waking up for. Patrick Geary, BBC News.
That's it. I'll be back with the late news at 10:30. But now on BBC One, time for the news where you are. Bye for now.